Okay, so this is my Beam application. Shift F10 to run the main app, and then it opens this window. You can see that it scales appropriately when I drag it along either axis. The widgets fill the entire space. It defaults with an E and an I that are non-zero, just so that the plots don't throw an error. Here I can go up to the database tab, click connect, it opens a file explorer, and I can go to any file. It doesn't even have to be in the same directory as the application. Here I'll go to my downloads, click on the structural database and open it. It generates a noise and a nice little pop-up to confirm that it's connected to the database. I can click OK to exit out. It defaults to the first material and the first section property that's valid for that material. If I switch to steel, it updates the section properties and defaults to the first one. If I switch to hardwood, it does the same thing. Softwood, and then concrete also has its own section properties associated with it. Here I have the 5 support conditions. You'll notice that the graphic in the top right updates with each radio button. Down here I have a display that updates with all the material properties for each cross-section and material. We can expand it a little bit just so that it shows all of them. There we go. All right. And then the slider on the right controls the load. The load is displayed within the graphic, and it can go from 0 all the way up to 1, and it does it in increments of 0.01, so you can have really fine tuning. Down here you can also scale the results. The results can be scaled from 0 to 10, and they go in 0.1 increments, which allows you to do like a half scale in case the deflection is too big. Down here is the radio buttons for changing the plot type. This is deflection, but we can also see what the slope is. Here I'll do pin fixed to make it a little more interesting. Scale the slope so we can see that zero slope occurs where the deflection has a local minimum. And then here's moment and shear. Another nice feature that I added is that if you scale the plot and then change the graph, it defaults the scale back to 1. That way you don't have to try and eyeball 1.0 because it's kind of hard. Now if we go to results, I can export as a PNG, and I get a notification that confirms how it was exported, what the file name is. I can also export it as a PDF and as a CSV file. And if I go in my file directory, this is the folder where the application is stored, and here are the 3 files I generated. The PNG file is this. You can see that it exported the system graphic with the proper heading and the axis titles. Here is the PDF that it exported, the same thing. Our app data is an Excel file that has the span in basically 10 increments, the shear, moment, slope, and displacement. If we go back to our application here, oh yes, you can also change the span. And I have it set up nicely so that the support conditions scale with the span such that it appears that they stay constant as you change the span. So these support conditions are just the same picture to the user no matter what the span is. And I think that, oh, one more thing. I added an about button. When you click it, it just comes up with this dialog box, which has basic info about how to run the application and what it's for and who it's by. And I think that's it. Oh, and if you close out, it closes out. Oh, the one thing I didn't show, if you open it back up and you go to Database Connect, Downloads. All right, so you can connect to a database, and it'll confirm that for you. You can also disconnect from a database, in which case it just reverts back to the default section properties and the material and section info go away. Okay.